What if I told you that the same hands that once trembled from childhood abuse would later build a thriving business empire? That same voice, silenced by trauma, would eventually sing on stages and inspire thousands. I'm Andrew White, and I'm the host of Leading Our Own Way. And today, on Leading Our Own Way, we meet Stephen Falkingham, a man who proves that our darkest chapters don't define our final story. From surviving domestic violence to building four-star garage doors, from becoming a compassionate leader who revolutionizes workplace culture to penning two powerful books. One, The Struggle is Real, but so is life. And the next book, The Internal Pain of Me. Stephen's journey will challenge everything you think you know about resilience. This is part one of Stephen's incredible story. So hit that subscribe button and let's dive right in with Stephen. Here's a trailer, here's an info trailer with me. Enjoy. This is part one of part three, by the way, this week on Leading Our Own Way. Please subscribe to the channel. Welcome to Leading Our Own Way. I'm your host, Andrew White, and this is the podcast that unveils captivating narratives of resilience and personal triumph. This podcast is for anyone seeking inspiration and insights on overcoming life's challenges. Follow and subscribe, and then we can lead together forever. Stephen Falkingham, welcome to Leading Our Own Way. How are you tonight, man?
Good. I'm very well, thank you, and it's a pleasure to be here. An absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure for me too, my friend. It's I'm so glad we reached out and caught each other on social media, and it's we formed a little bit of a bond. You've even been to my house and dropped off these amazing books.
Well, you know, I know where you live, so this does terrible. I know where you live now.
Yeah, that would scare me. No, especially when you're going to do a free job for me one day.
Correct. That's right.
That'll come clear later, I'm sure, to the viewers. No, thank you for joining me on my journey. It's been an absolute pleasure. We've connected before, and I'm honoured to have you on the show and sharing your journey. You've been on a bit of a journey. Let's get into it, I suppose. I love starting with the question that connects to the title of the podcast, and where I particularly start with all of my guests is how you're leading your own way, and you're doing it in many different ways. You made a few changes in your life. You've turned pain into purpose in a similar way that I kind of have as well with some books, but I'll leave that down to you. How are you leading your own way, Stephen?
Well, I guess I'd start with the business. I started the business. I still have many businesses throughout the years, but focus more on the recent one. And I try to lead by good example, not just by, what's that saying? Do as I say, not, all that. I can't remember that saying. I'm terribly sorry remembering these things.
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah. Do as I say, not do as I do.
No,
type thing. But I'm like, I want to be that person that leads by example. And I guess I'll start off with the books. The struggle is real, but so is life. That one, I started writing that book when I was 21 years old. I'm a humble ripe age of 38 now, but it only got released this year. That was me, because by the time I was 21, I already had probably 3 businesses, and I had done multiple things throughout the years of trying to be a successful businessman, as I would say. So that is my journey from 21 until now, but my entrepreneurial journey, things I've learned along the way, and some lessons, very valuable lessons I've learned. I'm glad I waited the 18 years to write that, or 17 years to write that, but at the start of this year, it just flew out of me when I had a bit more spare time with the business. So there's a lot of stuff in that book that was pertaining to entrepreneurial sort of journey and lessons along the way. And the other book, The Internal Pain of Me, that was a crazy byproduct of writing The Struggle is Real. So the second I wrote that first book, and I released it, and I was like, wow, and I just felt so compelled to write about the internal pain of me, and that was about from when I was born until I was probably about 19 to 20 when I sort of started my entrepreneurial journey. And it doesn't talk about the entrepreneurial side of things. That's about my being a child to when I was 21. So, and writing that book was incredibly painful to write, and it took me quite a few months to write. Actually, I would say a solid couple of months of focused writing, and I would write the book, and I would write a chapter or a paragraph, and I'd have to walk away from the computer because I'd just be in tears writing it, because I went through a lot of trauma as a kid, and it just ripped open old wounds that I sort of forgotten when I was a child, and put it down. I'll tell you what's been probably the most healing process that I've ever had, and most transformational journey for me to kind of get over that and deal with the pain, I guess. So I try to say to people, if you're struggling with stuff, just write it down. And I've never been a big advocate of that until I did my own book, and I thought, wow, it was so healing to do that. So yeah, I try to lead by example with that. So the business, the books, and in the band as well. So I sing in a band as well, even in a heavy metal band. So I like to perform for people and express my experiences through music, as any good musician would say. So try to lead by example.
We'll get into the music, but just quickly,
Mm-hmm.
I opened the book because Stephen, to everyone who's watching on YouTube and Spotify, you can see that I've held the books up. For everyone on Apple, you'll have to tune into the others to realise what I'm doing. But all the links will be in the show notes for anyone who's interested in buy the books as well. But I opened the book, The Internal Pain of Me, to page 5 randomly, and even just there, I see words like toxic, screaming, cigarettes in the morning, cigarettes at dinner, cigarettes while screaming at each other, that's in the space of 4 lines, and I've seen the word toxic, screaming, cigarettes.
Yeah.
And so that even within itself, because Stephen only dropped them off last week, so I've not had time to read them yet.
Yep.
2 books, by the way. I've never had a guest with 2 books, by the way. Actually, no, I lie, I do. But still, I only had 1 of them. But just to open that and see those words within the beginning in the space of 4 lines, that is actually could be quite triggering, right? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, yeah. That's a pretty mild thing that's just in that as well. Like even the first line of the very first chapter is, pain didn't start with me. It's generational trauma, and it was just, yeah. So like I said, there's certain chapters and certain paragraphs that I had to walk away from because it's just so brutal what I went through. Yeah.
And in that book, I opened it up to a page, and I'm glad because it's about what nobody tells you anything about winning. Talk to me about that.
What nobody tells you about winning. So
yeah,
there's a lot of when you start doing business and start making some money, or you start succeeding in some things you do. I guess it's kind of like there's so many things I could mention. So many things are rushing through my head right now. A thing that I'll just grab onto right now is there's not that I'm at the top, but they say it's lonely at the top, and I go, I wonder why. And I thought about trying to explain some things to my friends, saying, hey, I'm doing really well, and I'm trying to share with them my wins, and it feels like they think I might be bragging or trying to showboat or something, and I'm like, no, I want to share this, and then we sort of drift apart and say, hey, what's going on? I just want to share my wins with you because I just want to share it with someone, because it sort of feels a bit lonely. No one tells you about that sort of the side of winning. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's one thing that I could think of. Yeah,
I get it. I totally relate to it. Again, not that I'm winning, not that I'm number 1 in the world of podcasting and anything, but it's not. I don't think it's in terms of ranking, is it? It's terms of
sharing.
Well, yes, but it's also you're moving out of that space that you once shared with those people.
Yeah.
And obviously people might watch this, so I won't go on about my personal journey because I don't want to upset anybody. But there is one guest that shared, and I related to it, so I'll share his journey because he's already shared it publicly. But he was going through a 30-year cocaine binge, and he had obviously a lot of people around him at that time because they would be in the binge too, right? But he had a lot of weight, and he became, after those 30 years of, in his late 50s, I think it was, and he's become a friend. He actually lives not too far. We did some public speaking together not long ago in Melbourne, and he shares how when
I know
he
who
lost
it
the
is.
weight.
I know who you're talking about.
Oh dear. Yeah. Tony Mance.
Tony.
Yeah, Tony. Do you know Tony?
Oh, Tony's mastered. He's actually mastered last week our EP recently. I use Tony all the time for our music.
No,
so,
I did not know that.
Yeah, Tony, Mr. Bear. I call him Mr. Bear.
Yeah, Jack the Bear.
Yeah.
So me and Tony did a public speaking event in Melbourne together not too long ago. And that was actually the first time we met, but I did the interview with him. It was my number 10 episode, so a long time ago. It was one of my early days of podcasting, and he was phenomenal. I found him on Facebook, and we're going to go for a coffee and talk here whenever. You'll have to join us. And he shares how when he lost weight in his journey and came away from drugs and things like that, he lost a lot of friends, but it was because that they shared the same. I don't want to say trauma because I don't know if it was the same trauma, but they shared the same point of life. But because he changed his trajectory of his life, he was no longer service to them.
Yeah.
And I can kind of relate to that a little bit. I might not offer the same service to those because I was struggling with people, and we offered the same struggle, so we were kind of there for each other. But when one changed the trajectory in a positive way, and they're not quite there yet to do it, even though they're still happy for you and still be your friend and whatnot, they're just not ready to go along with you, and that distance then is created, even though the relationship still might exist as a friend, but it just wasn't the same as it once was. So maybe it's like that as well. Do you know what I mean?
100% agree with that. Not just it happened with quite a few people in my life at that time. I've learnt a lot about that, and I try not to. These days, I try to be careful how I say things, not to, because people generally think you're just bragging, and I'm like, I just want to share my wins, you know, and try and find other people who have businesses as well and can relate and share. And then you go, you know, last week we did this X amount, and I did this with the staff, and they were very happy. And some people will be like, oh, so what? But if another business owner is like, oh, me too, and we share stories, and then we can grow and share strategies on how to make people happy and stuff like that. No, it's hard to relate with people who aren't doing that sort of thing. And unfortunately they sort of go different. You go in different directions, and I've learnt a lot about that sort of stuff.
Yeah, beautiful. I'm sure we'll dip back into the books and how it might connect with your journey along the way. It'll be nice to dip into that. Before we get into the music, because I've got some beautiful photos of you doing your thing. I'll have to come to Melbourne one night to show you, as long as I get VIP backstage tickets,
you will.
by the way.
Always.
I'm only joking. I want this to pay off somehow. But you've started your own business. Let's talk about your business, what you do, and why you set that up. And before you do, this day, you just told me before we started recording, this was a very scary day for you. And I was holding a picture up of Stephen on his first day on a new life change. And I think it's important because, you know, people listening might be stuck in the middle in that pivotal moment, scared to make change. That's why this part is important towards how you're leading your own way.
Yeah. That photo there I was in between. Actually, I just figured out I need to do my business full time. I was working for a great company that did garage door installs and service work. I learnt a lot from my old boss, an absolute legend of a person. And I was working 7 till 4. I tried to explain to him, I can help you take your business, because I've always been that sort of mindset with entrepreneur and trying to expand. And I said, hey, we could do this with your business because we're already in this industry. And he sort of didn't really believe in it. And I was like, I was trying to push for it. And he's like, no. And I'm like, you know what? Fine, that's fine. I'll start doing it myself. And then I did it for 9 months. I was 7 till morning till 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then from 4 o'clock in the afternoon till 10, 11 o'clock at night, just massive days for months on end. And I think I took 1 day off in 7 months, and I led myself to burnout, which as all people do, because they got to learn the hard way, I suppose. Then I thought, you know what? I need to take the leap, and I was doing better on the weekends that I was working in my own business because I put my heart and soul into it, and I got so much joy from it, and I thought, you know what, bugger it, I'm going to do it. And that photo there, my wife took the photo, and I think that was our first day operating as our business with no financial support on our own, and that's why that photo was very important. So very scary day, but I had this vision, and I'm like, nothing is going to stop me and get in my way. I'm going to make this work. And then we just did it, and then we haven't looked back since. So yeah, we're Falkstar. We do garage door insulation, brush seals, custom artwork, paint, patterns, all that sort of stuff, and lots of service work as well. So we try and take care of their doors and make sure they're really, really well maintained as well.
Amazing. And everybody who's listening, he's offered to come and do mine for free. I've rejected it, but he wants to come and do mine for free. I'm like, what are you doing? No, you can't do that. This is just the type of person that he is.
Well, I want to help you. You help people, and that's just me trying to help you. Like, you've got to relearn to start accepting.
I know.
Stop saying no and start saying yes to people. Yeah, people want to give
just
you
pay
things.
For dinner.
Pardon?
You could just pay for dinner.
Yeah, but like if you're going to move into the garage and you're going to want that insulated, you're going to want more room, and I'm going to be like, yep, I did that, and I'm so happy he got it done. So it helps you, it helps me, helps you reach a broader audience, and you be comfortable in your garage, and you make you help a lot of people, and I get that from you, and that's why found myself being like drawn to you, and I'm like, I want to help this guy because he helps other
No,
people. It's just what you
thanks,
want to
man.
do.
Yeah, beautiful. No, it's really nice for you to say, and I'm obviously uh, honoured. I'm getting embarrassed
Yeah,
now,
I
so
can tell. I can tell.
we'll move on. Yeah, so and again, I'll put the business in show notes if I can promote your business and your bands and the books as much as I possibly can. Absolutely, everything will be in the show notes on every episode. So, yeah, contact me if you need a garage door done in the Melbourne area. Talk to me about your band then, because I've got some pictures here and it just looks intense, man. Here we go.
Oh yeah.
Talk to us about the band.
I'm the lead singer of Katana Cartel, a heavy metal band. That photo there, particularly, I think, was taken at Max Watts in the city. It was a sold-out show. It was a massive show. I love music.
Wow.
I fell in love with music around 14, and I go into a lot about my Internal Pain of Me book about when I was in a rough period of my life, and I went to Sydney to visit my cousin, and she played this song, Nothing Else Matters, by Metallica, and my whole world just like turns to color. Like my whole childhood was gray, and it turned to color as soon as I heard that song, and I just felt attracted to the guitar and music, and I never heard it. I've heard music before, but I've never heard it played like this, and never felt so much emotion with it. So fell in love with music, self-taught guitarist for many years, and singing as well. And yeah, we go on tour. We've gone on tour a few times, East Coast and stuff as well, and I just love performing live. It's just another world where I do sing a lot about my, I guess without saying directly I've had trauma, I sort of sing about it in the songs, and I think a lot of good artists will not sing about just random stuff, or they like to sing about their experiences because it means a lot more, and to me, music is very, very personal. And yeah, so I sing a lot about my experiences, and just it goes with music, and I'm just having the time of my life on stage, and people there enjoying it too. So I'm like, I'm in doing what I love doing, and they're enjoying listening to music because they love listening to music. So I don't know, it's just music is a different world for me. I get to be somebody else in the sense that this is another aspect of my life that I was born to be an entertainer. So yeah.
And what age was it that you started to
about 14 years old. Yeah, 14,
the
15.
guitar?
Yeah, around that
Wow.
age. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
So with your bands, what type of crowds, like what numbers are you talking about when you perform in front of?
Oh,
How many?
I wouldn't say a lot. We have those odd gigs where we have like a lot of punters through the door.
Yeah.
But we're just a local metal band. Metal is not a very mainstream thing. We, well, we've played to front of the bartenders before. Back in the day. We've had those shows.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what you have to start.
We
right?
did that for years. But we love it. Regardless. But I guess we do have some good followers now, who like to buy all of our stuff. We don't even run. Funny enough, back on numbers. My mind wonders. I have this really cool story, but numbers. I know we play smaller venues like the Bendigo Hotel, Central Club in Richmond, all those like medium, like 50 to 100 to 200 capacity sort of venues.
Yeah.
But funny enough, like we have a group of people that follow us to all of our shows, which is nice, and we see the same faces, which is cool. And this one guy, I'm going to give a massive shout out. Fonzie is an absolute legend. He comes to all of our shows, and he's wearing our hoodie, which is really cool. And we're sitting there talking to the band, and he's there at the venue, and because we haven't gone on stage yet, and he goes, "Don't hate me," and I'm like, "What?" And the whole band's standing there, and he unzips his hoodie, and he's got a bootleg version of our album EP that hasn't even been released yet. He got the image, put it on the website, got someone to print it out and put it on a shirt. So he's got a bootleg version of our album artwork on his shirt, and we all cried laughing, and we thought, this is amazing. Yeah, like we didn't even sell him that. He wanted to do it, and it's just like people want to wear our stuff and they love our music, and I just like, you can't not love him. You know what I mean? And that was what we love. Yeah.
Warms you up, doesn't it? Makes you realise to just keep pushing it, even if you have those down days. And I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
But like, Not even maybe music related, just like you're tired one day and you just don't want to. But it's just people like that keep you going, don't they? Phenomenal.
And we help. Like, well, funny enough, it's funny enough that show. I actually he bought both my books, the two books there, and he goes, "Can you sign them?" I'm like, "For sure, I'll sign them." So I brought him to the show. I signed them for him, and he told me about some from the Eternal Pain of Me. He told me some stuff about him, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, we're not alone. We're really not alone. And he goes, it's really helped me. And I was like, wow. Like, that's all I wanted is just to try and help people with their struggles, because there's just too much bad stuff going on in the world. And that makes me so freaking fulfilled inside when he told me that. I was like, just one person. And then the same show, another lady came up to me. She said, I saw your thing on Facebook. And then she just unloaded on me in her story. I was like, damn, we are not alone. We are not alone out here. You know, people who've gone through some trauma and stuff. I'm like, wow, you know, so...
Everyone's got a story, my man. They really do.
It's crazy.
Everyone's got a story, and the more you open up, you're creating a safe space for people to open up, and it just shows you every story's worth hearing. That's what I always say on here as well, you know. Like, that's become a bit of a line. Everyone's got a story, and every story's worth hearing. I truly believe that.
Yeah.
Who is Fluffy, by the way?
Fluffy is my nickname. That's my
nickname.
nickname.
Is it you?
Yeah.
I'm holding a picture up of you quoting, and it says Fluffy, and I was wondering.
My hair. It's
the hair, yeah.
Because it's as long as my arms. Yeah. Yeah.
Why I found my true calling, didn't let anything stand in my way. Well, you've summed that up already to a certain point, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. When I found my true calling, I didn't let anything stand in my way. Anything that was getting in my way, I'm like, nah, this is what I want to do. This is what I love. I don't care for, and that quote goes deeper. It's, I don't care for all the distractions. This is what I want to do, and I'm staying focused on it because I get so much enjoyment out of it.
Yeah. And this is another quote. Do you put this part of your merchandise? Because this looks very artistic. One, start by telling yourself you can. Nobody else, just you. And look at that hair, Fluffy.
That was me mid-show. I have a really good photographer, and I flicked my hair up, and I was like, you know, I like that, and. Yeah, that's start by telling yourself you can, nobody else, just you. Like, a lot of people say, you know, they'd like to talk to other people and say, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I can do this. And I said, you know what, just ignore that stuff. Just tell yourself over and every day, you can. Yeah. You can, I will, I am. Like, affirmations, I guess. But just make sure you really believe it first before you start verbalizing it. Because if you start verbalizing it, people sort of leave it out there and they don't take... in my experience, people don't take responsibility for it, and maybe that's just what I did. I just had to start in here and just tell me that I can. And once I really believed it, it's like, without saying that I can to people, I will show them by leading by example and leading my own way. This is, you know, I started from here, and then I'll express it outwards with my success, I guess, or my experiences and my wins, you know.
I'm guessing that quote came after the fact that you started on that first day in your new business. That came evidence after that, right?
Well, no,
before,
I think
maybe?
it was before, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think
there you go.
A lot before, yeah. Definitely before. 100% before. I was wearing that Metallica shirt that I don't have anymore. I always miss that. I think that was at Steel Assassins Metal Festival in Sydney in 2016, so it was way before the business, so...
Right. Oh, well, that pushed you even... That probably helped you do what you did on that with your business then.
100%. I think everything leads back to... You can trace it right back to, like, early days, like stuff that I think now. I mean, it's always about you evolving as a human. Like, I was a different person I was 12 months ago to now. Something that I said 5-6 years ago or 10 years ago can be linked to where I am today. I guess you're right like that. Yeah.
I do want to dig deep into your journey of why all this began and where it began, and you've mentioned already with the childhood, with the pain, with, you know, from the book, The Internal Pain of Me. But we went into an area on a pre-chat into an area that I didn't think was going to exist, and part of my podcast stems from the leadership, and I think it's important that we talk about it briefly because we started talking about your approach to leadership in the pre-chat, and I thought it was very interesting, and I could definitely connected with you in a deeper way. Why did we go into that discussion, do you think? Because you have a particular, you do look at leadership as that more human side, like myself. You know, you even the way you text me the other day around your colleague. I don't want to bring it up just in case you don't want to talk about it, and you don't want him to talk about it, because that's privacy of your colleagues. But even that, I could just tell you're looking out for the people that you work with.
Oh yeah,
If you know where I'm coming from.
yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I always say to all my staff, I I want to be well. First of all, I told myself that I can be the boss that I wish I was always had. Yeah, and it
Yes.
goes back to that saying: is people don't leave businesses, they leave managers because it's terrible management, and people don't feel direction, they don't feel heard, they don't feel um, that they're valuable. And I felt all of that in a lot of roles that I've ever been in. And I thought, you
Hmm.
know what, I'm gonna break the chain, not only with my life, with my family, and all that sort of stuff, but I want I wish I had the boss that I am, so I'm gonna change it, and I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna say, you know what, I'm gonna make it so good that my staff love coming to work. They're happy. They feel free to tell me anything, and I say to them all the time. I go, look, if I said to one of my staff members the other day, I said, if I ever say anything out of pocket, this and that, say, hey Steve, shut the f up. However you want to tell me to stop my brain and say that's wrong. I don't agree with that. And I'll say, whoa, okay. And I'll say, well, why he or she saying this to me? I go, wait, I've said something. I said, okay, you know what? Let's start again. I've probably come across the wrong way. Let's start that again. I apologize, and I want to create an open dialogue with my staff. Yeah. Um, and I say to them, look, I'm not going to be the typical Monday to Friday, this hour to that hour. You need to do those hours. I say, hey, if you've got sick leave or annual leave, and you say, hey, Steve, I'm going to be sick on the 27th of June next year. I'm like, yeah, sweet. If you got sick leave, take it. Take the long weekend. Just think. I say to my main installer, I'll say his name. Corey's a legend. He's an absolute machine. I wish I had 10 Corys. The business would be 10 times what it is now. But I say to him, hey, you know what? No boss will ever tell you this, but my old manager would say to me, he looks at the whole year ahead, and he looks at the public holidays on a Tuesday and Monday, and he books on that day or the one after, so he gets a really long weekend. He's like, oh, I said, yeah, do that, but let me know in advance. I said, I've got no issue for you to say, hey, can I take 2 weeks off at this day? I said, yeah, cool. You got annual leave, fine, as long as I know in advance. Just don't call me in the morning and tell me you're sick. And he never does, never has, and I've had him for a year and a half. Um, but then his partner needed some time off because she's had some surgery done, and he goes, "Can I take it off?" Yeah, of course. You need to be home, take care of your partner. Like, I'll just jump in the van, I'll do the installs. It's not like I've never done it before. I said, no problem. Do you want it sick leave or do you want annual leave? He goes, oh, I don't, can I? I'm like, I'm the boss. Of course you can. Like, be honest. Like, I'll give you the time off, and I just want to be supportive for them because they're allowing me to do what I really want to do and help other people, and we're just the same. Him and I are just the same. You know what I mean? And I just want to be different, and I just want them to enjoy and give them the freedom, and I really get that from everyone in the team, and show fairness. And I wanted to move, or not wanted, I will be moving into a profit share. So like I say to everyone in the team, I said, I'm very simple. I don't need these Lamborghinis. I don't need these big homes. As long as I've got my house and my gaming computer, I'm happy. And I've got my band and I have my amazing wife. I don't need all this materialistic things. I learned from a young age that I don't need that stuff. I said, when we get to that point, which we look at the end of the quarter, and if we actually made profit, and we take out like 3% extra for growth for the business, I'm happy to the point that we can just split it among everyone because everyone is working. Everyone is a part of this. Like, I don't want to be that boss that's flying around in a Lamborghini while everyone's struggling to pay rent or make ends meet. Stuff that. I want to keep the close knit family and everyone gets benefits from it. And scary enough, if we get to that point, I'll move it to a 4-day work week. Stuff it. Everyone can get Fridays off permanently. Just Monday to Thursday. Stuff it. You know what I mean? Who cares? Like, I want to enjoy life, and I've had a terrible childhood, and I just want to live life now. And
Join us tomorrow to hear more from today's incredible guests and learn valuable insights to help you lead your own way. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you then.